Welcome back to the Casual Combat MMA podcast. We are back for season 2, episode 3. If you didn't catch our most recent release of our interview with Austin Shane of Building a Fighter, go check that out. But that's not about Austin today. Today, we are here to recap what happened last week, preview what's going to happen this week. Cal's going to figure out how we can make some money, and we will go from there. Cal, how you doing? How was your weekend?
Good. I just think this camera angle is really making my shoulders look big. I also shot a buck last night.
We should acknowledge that this episode will probably get out whenever it was going to get out anyway. But yeah, Cal shot a buck last night. We were supposed to record last night, but how can you pass up the opportunity to gut a living animal, right?
Yep. Yeah, I just enjoy killing things. But yeah, last week we had some good fights, and I was pretty much on the money, I believe, with all of my picks except for one. I think we went 5 for 6 in the picks I said I could make you money. So I hope you didn't make that just a parlay. I hope you bet those all individually. Jamie Malarkey is the one who he ended up winning with a knockout in the second round. He's the one who ruined that parlay for us.
Mm-hmm.
But like I predicted, Douglas Silva de Andrade, he looked really good. Got a knockout in the first round. Again, Valentina's sister, Antonina, she looked bad and got knocked out in the second round, as I felt very confident would happen. Nico Price got a unanimous decision over Alex Oliveira. Still not a whole lot of faith. Kind of a weird event in the Kevin Holland-Kyle Dawkins fight. And I actually just saw news that is scheduled to be refought in December.
And I think it's going to be the main event of a fight night, right?
Yep.
Because now there's kind of a story behind it of like, you know, they don't have beef, obviously, but there's a backstory behind the fight now.
Mm-hmm. The big event there was that Kevin Holland defended a single takedown. That was the highlight I saw.
Yes. And got headbutt KO'd. And then taken down from that headbutt KO. I think they gave him some time to recover. But then okay. I'm not going to pretend like I saw the fights. I was chaperoning the high school homecoming dance, so I did not watch the fights. But from what I saw, I saw pictures of him getting submitted, and also I saw the headbutt knockout. When did it end?
I think how it went down was I don't know for sure. I was catching glimpses of this at a bar, if I'm going to be honest.
Hey, but casuals. Also, speaking of bar, I have a classic here today. Miller Lite, let me get it right close to the mic so you guys can hear it.
Oh.
So good. Continue.
I am not partaking as I am still recovering from Oktoberfest this weekend. But he was hit. He was like, the headbutt dropped him. Like he was pretty much out at that moment. I think it went on a little bit after. Then they're like, whoa.
Yeah. No contest.
Knockout. Yeah. Thiago Santos beat Johnny Walker in the main event. I don't really have a whole bunch more to say. I kind of knew that was going to happen as well. Really looking good with our predictions though there.
Hell yeah. If you want to make money, listen to the Casual Combat.
Yeah, and we got some good fights this week, actually. And actually, my thoughts were I wasn't that excited about this card, so I decided to dig even deeper than I normally would in with my research to make myself interested. And I'll probably bet on a whole bunch of fights to make myself watch it and be cheering really hard. But
dude, I think this is I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter, on social media about how bad this card is. And I think this could really fit into one of those criteria that they're not hyped up fights, right? It's not like a pay-per-view where you like know all the matchups and the matchups have giant implications. But this is exactly one of those sleeper cards that could just put on a banger of a performance.
Yep. Yeah, no, this is as I dug in a little deeper, there's going to be some good fights. It does seem like usually when these fight cards are the ones that end up with like the crazy knockouts and just like an awesome card. I mean, we've seen it happen over and over again. I mean, really any of these guys have a chance to be the star of the night. So maybe that puts some into play there. But the first fight I want to talk about, these aren't in any specific order, just kind of was ones I'm interested in. We have Alex Romanov fighting Jared Bandera. Romanov's 14-0. He's a minus 550 favorite. Bandera is 12-5. He's a plus 380 underdog. In the UFC, Jared Bandera is 1-1 with a win over Justin Tafa and a loss to Sergey Spivak. You look at Alexander Romanov, he's 3-0 in the UFC. he just beat Juan Espino, who was 10-1 before he fought Romanov. Romanov has been really dominant in a lot of his wins. Something I also noticed was Bandera in his 5 losses has been submitted 3 times, and Romanov has quite a few submissions to his name. I would guess 5 to 8 of those 14 wins are via submission. So looking to make some money, I'm going to bet, and I would bet on an Alexander Romanov submission here. I think that is a good chance that happens.
I'll tell you with 100% confidence, and I say 100% confidence that Alexander Romanov is going to finish Jared Bandera. It's not
a little bit safer bet to just finish, but
yeah, I mean, there's no chance that Bandera comes out on top of this fight. And honestly, there's no chance that this fight lasts the distance. And if it does, I will eat crow, but I don't see it.
This next fight, I actually am really interested to hear your opinion on. We got Phil Hawes fighting Duran Nguyen. Phil Hawes is 11-2, minus 290 favorite. Duran Nguyen is 7-2 with a plus 230 underdog in return. Duran Nguyen is 2-2 in the UFC with a loss to Darren Stewart and a loss to Gerald Meerschaert. His wins aren't that significant. Phil Hawes is 4-0 in the UFC, and his last win was against Kyle Dawkins, who was 10-2 when they fought. What are your thoughts on this fight, Nelson?
So my thoughts, I think what I want to happen might not reflect what will happen. So being a wrestler, I know both guys. I think Phil Hawes was maybe like a junior college or an NAIA guy, or he might have even been a Division I guy. I'm not sure. I know he has a very strong wrestling background, but he is very rare in the fact that he is almost a striker at heart. Right. So he's got that ability to chain wrestling with big strikes. And dude, he throws big strikes. He knocks dudes like out cold. Whereas Duran Nguyen, being a wrestler myself, a guy that I'm very familiar with, a guy who I've known in the wrestling scene for a very long time, as an Olympic hopeful, an Olympic level athlete and wrestler, as well as his role in training. Is it Gilroy High School? In California, along with DC, and he works at AKAs around guys like Habib and DC all the time. So my heart wants Duran Nguyen to win. Obviously, he's a guy that I'm personally invested in and follow on social media and have interacted with him. Not actually, but have sent tweets back and forth with, and he's a guy that is like a lot of people that I know. However, I would really like to see him down at welterweight, not at middleweight. He might be something like 5'4" or 5'5", fighting at middleweight. And every time he gets in the cage, although he's a very credentialed wrestler, he's just outstruck and he's just at such a disadvantage physically that I think it's hard for him to, or it will be hard for him to break into those upper echelons of the middleweight division, especially when you know that guys like Kevin Holland, guys like Israel Adesanya, guys like Paulo Costa, those big hulking dudes at 185, that have that reach and the size advantage on him. It's just hard to see him have a feasible path to a belt in the middleweight division. Now, at welterweight, I think he is a real threat to everybody. But like I said, middleweight, I think I would like to see him drop down a weight. So my pick is Phil Hawes, but my heart is with Duran Nguyen, if that makes any sense.
So just to circle back with some things you said, Phil Hawes was a JUCO national champ for Iowa Lakes, and then he did go wrestle a year at Iowa State after that.
So my intuition told me right.
Yeah, that was impressive because I did the research, so I knew that. That's why I knew that. I hope Duran Nguyen gets viciously knocked out. He is. I do. I am tired of seeing his fat body get into the ring. It's like 185. I've been holding it in for too long because he's a wrestling guy. No, he's 2 weight classes too heavy. This is stupid. Why are they letting him fight that high? He doesn't need to be fat. He doesn't need to be fat and be in the UFC. Cut down 2 weight classes. Be good. Just because DC did it doesn't mean you can do it.
Listen, I think I said the same thing in a much nicer way, but hey, throw the smoke. There's no chance Duran's going to watch this. So, Duran, if you do end up watching this clip, Duran, rewind, listen to what I praised you. I like you, man.
I take nothing back either, though. Still, you.
Oh, jeez. But I'm excited for that fight. That's to be honest, that's the fight that I'm most excited about on the whole card.
Mm-hmm. So then let's move on to the next fight. We got Damon Jackson versus Charles Rosa. Damon Jackson is 18-4, minus 185 favorite. He and Charles Rosa is 14-5, a plus 150 underdog. In Damon Jackson's 2 fights in the UFC, he is 1-1 with a win over Mirsad Bektic and a loss to Elliott Topuria, who still has not lost in the UFC, so it's hard to say what that loss means. Rosa, he's 9-4 in the UFC, so he's been around for a little bit. He has 2 split decision wins. He's got a loss to Bryce Mitchell. He had a split with Marina Rodriguez. He lost. I mean, both these guys are really big submission guys. It's going to be on the ground a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a really tough one for me to pick.
I think I know who I would pick. And I think I would pick Damon Jackson.
Yeah.
Because I know that Charles Rosa has highly touted himself, self-promoted as a grappling specialist. And I was really, really excited to see his grappling on display with another grappler in Bryce Mitchell. And Bryce Mitchell just made him look like a guy that just walked into a jiu-jitsu gym and wanted to try it out for the first time. I mean, he appeared to have almost no wrestling ability, and his jiu-jitsu was just not even able to get going in that fight against Bryce Mitchell. And it lasted the whole time. Like, they were in there for 15 whole minutes, and Charles Rosa literally got manhandled for all 15 minutes. And Damon Jackson, I know he's got that loss to Elliott Topuria. Like you said, who knows what that means.
That's a first-round KO, like flush, like knockout. Yeah. That can happen.
Yeah, and although Damon Jackson did, when he was in the PFL, get flying knee memed. But I'm going to ignore anything that wasn't in the UFC for these 2 players. So,
yeah, I agree. The loss to Bryce Mitchell really bothers me too, because I know that match was mostly on the mat, but I believe he was also outstruck on the feet.
Oh, and Bryce Mitchell can't really strike.
Exactly. And I know Damon Jackson is a good grappler too. I think his nickname's the Leech.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think any of them have a huge advantage grappling, and I just can't imagine Damon Jackson is a worse striker than Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, I can't be.
I'm also picking Damon Jackson, but I think that is a tough one to pick.
I do think so. And you said that Damon Jackson is the favorite?
He is.
I'm not sure I'm betting on that fight. I don't think.
I wasn't crazy about that. I'm not recommending you necessarily bet on that fight. If you could bet the under on strikes thrown, I would bet on that. I don't think that's a thing, though.
I don't think so either.
Another fight we got is Tim Elliott, the veteran, versus Mateus is what it is. Mateus Nicolau. This is the one I was looking up. I'm like, it looks like Matthews, but it's not. It's Mateus Nicolau. Anyways, Tim Elliott's 17-11. He's a plus 160 underdog. Nicolau is 16-2, a minus 200 favorite. Nicolau is 1-0 in the UFC.
Oh.
In his one fight, he beat a guy who was 15-5, whose name meant nothing to me. And then if you look at Tim Elliott, he's been in the UFC for 10 years. He's 10-9 in the UFC. He's won his last 2 fights. But then if you go look at his last 3 losses, he lost to Brandon Royval, Davison Figueiredo, and Askar Askarov. I think Tim Elliott is going to get this done.
I do as well.
I think he's a wily veteran who has won enough fights to stay in the UFC. And I think this is just the kind of fight where he finds a way to win. Exactly.
I think Tim Elliott at one point fought for the belt too. I believe that he lost to Demetrius Johnson.
You are right on with that.
And so I'm still going with Tim Elliott. I've never seen Tim Elliott lose to a fighter that I didn't think he should lose to. He's lost to guys like Royval, who's a beast, Davison Figueiredo, who's a beast, Askar Askarov, who's a beast, right? I'm not saying that he is in that upper echelon anymore, but I don't think that Mateus is getting to him.
To have a 10-year career in the UFC, you have to win fights like this.
Yes.
You fight like this, then all of a sudden, then you maybe have one more before you're out.
Yes, correct.
But he's proven his way he's continually won these fights, and have a guy who had a questionable split decision win, or another fighter who was 15-5 with only 1 fight in the UFC.
Yeah. Is this at flyweight or bantamweight?
That I do not know.
Okay, I know Tim Elliott kind of bounces around. I not putting you on the spot. It doesn't really matter, to be honest.
No, but yeah, I don't know for sure. And actually, we only have two more fights that I really felt were worth covering, but that's fine. We'll keep her moving along. Team Elliott is my pick, though. I would bet on that one. I think as an underdog, there's some value there.
Mm-hmm.
The co-main, I believe, is Randy Brown, 13-4, a -265 favorite over Jared Gooden, who is 18-6, and a +210 underdog. Randy Brown is 7-4 in the UFC. He most recently had a win over Alex Cowboy Oliveira, who I obviously have made it very loud that I don't think a ton of him as a fighter.
Yeah.
But he's also, his last three losses are to studs like Vicente Luque, Bilal Muhammad, and Nico Price. The Nico Price loss, not as good as the other two, but still a quality fighter. You look at Jared Gooden, he's 1-2 in the UFC against three guys whose names don't really matter to anyone, even the non-casuals. I think this is just a fight the UFC put together. Two guys kind of in the middle. Neither of them have really proven a ton. It'd probably be another win for Randy Brown. He's got 7 wins in the UFC. This is the guy he beats.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. And I don't know. That's just one of these fights where, I don't know. I certainly haven't done the research that you have, but you just kind of get an intuition as to what's going to happen. And
yeah, this is probably one of my least favorite kind of fights because it just really doesn't matter what happens unless something crazy happens. Both these guys need to string together a bunch of wins to matter really at this point where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean it can't be an awesome fight. It could be exciting. Maybe we have a nasty knockout or something.
Yeah.
And then in the main event, we got Marina Rodriguez, 14-1, a -165 favorite over my girl, Mackenzie Dern, who was 11-1, returning a +135 underdog. This is an exciting fight. This is actually going to be Marina Rodriguez's strawweight debut. She's coming down.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. I didn't know that until like about half an hour ago either. I didn't realize that.
No, I do want to say one thing, and I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong. And again, if I am wrong, I'll eat crow. I believe that her last name, because it's Brazilian, is Marina Rodriguez. Like Shogun Rua, like Amanda Ribas, like that.
Yeah, I'm not going to pronounce that way, but we'll see.
Okay, that's fair. I just wanted to put it out
not
there.
Because I feel like it is Rodriguez, but maybe it's not. I understand where you're coming from for sure.
I think I didn't know that until I heard it the last time she fought.
Just because both like Ribas, like nobody's last name is Ribas. Like
yes, I know. I know your logic. I'm just telling you, I think that's right.
Possibly. Anyways, Marina is 5-1 in the UFC. She's been in a hot streak as late. She just beat Michelle Watterson, and she did just beat Amanda Ribas actually too. She does have her one loss is to Carla Esparza. She's also got a draw to Symphony Calvillo. She's been very solid. She's a striker. She's pretty nasty for a woman fighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kenzie Dern is more of a jiu-jitsu specialist. I believe she has 4 wins in a row, and 3 of them been by finishes. She's looked a lot better lately striking. Her one loss is to Amanda Ribas. This is your classic striker versus a grappler fight. I think Mackenzie Dern is much improved from where she was at in maybe 4 or 5 fights ago when she took that loss.
Mm-hmm. But
I don't know if she is a good enough grappler to keep this off of her feet. I don't know where Marina Rodriguez.
This
good fight.
This is a good fight, and for the sake of disagreement, because I don't know if you explicitly said it in that sentence, but I feel like you're picking Mackenzie Dern.
I am very biased and have been on her train for like 3 fights. So
I agree. I think I'm going to pick Marina Rodriguez because I know you already said it, but I can't remember her last fight. I was super impressed. I was
Michelle Watterson.
Yes, I was incredibly impressed. It seems like everybody beats Michelle Watterson nowadays, but I was really impressed with her.
Yeah, she looked really good in that fight.
Yeah, against Michelle Watterson, who is a striker as well. She outstruck a notorious striker.
Right. And she's fought other grapplers before. I don't know is Mackenzie Dern the best grappler in the women's division right now? Maybe. It's really going to, that's going to be the difference is whether it's on the ground and Mackenzie Dern is controlling the action, or if Marina can keep it on her feet and it's a striking battle, it's going to be her fight to lose.
Yes. Yeah. And I think And it really does come down to whether or not she can get it to the ground because I know she did struggle a little bit last fight against Virna Hondiroba
Yep.
because, I mean, they were both grapplers and it ended up being a striking bout pretty much. But I mean, she can't really strike. So if Rodriguez is able to keep it on the feet, I think that's a clear one. But again, I think if she gets it to the ground, I think that's also pretty clear. So
now that you say that too, because I remember watching that fight and thinking that my thoughts on that fight were Dern's striking was much improved, but she was fighting another grappler. It wasn't a fight against a striker that she looked like she could strike. It was a strike against another person whose primary method to victory isn't going to be striking. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm betting Dern just because, like I said, that's my girl, but that's just a good fight. And that is a fight that really does mean something in that division. I mean, both these girls are a fight or two away from a title shot.
I agree. Especially, I mean, and at strawweight, I would like to see the top kind of broken up. I know that we've got the Weili and the Namajunas kind of trilogy. It's not a trilogy yet. They have to fight again, but they're certainly gonna fight again. That kind of seems to be the trend that the UFC is going. Whenever a champ loses, usually that champ gets an automatic rematch. And I think Weili versus Namajunas might be already scheduled. Is that true?
I believe so. I was gonna say I think that is. Somebody's got to fight Joanna at some point too.
I know, and I think the winner of this fight might lead into Joanna, because I think that Rose Namajunas is one of my favorite fighters, but I would be remiss to say that I don't think that Weili could win that fight. And I think if Weili wins that fight, then obviously you go to the trilogy, and that division is held up for another probably 6 to 7 months.
Yeah, but honestly, in the women's divisions right now, to have a title fight that people are excited about, if that goes to trilogy, it is what it is. Like with Nunes and Shevchenko, the other champions. I mean, it's none of the championships are any fun. I mean, I will be excited for Weili versus Rose again.
True.
And I would watch it no matter what the outcome, unless it's super boring for some reason. I'd watch it, and it's not going to be because both those girls are going to strike the whole.
I could watch Weili versus Namajunas 100 times and still be excited for it because the rest of the division is so, I would say, disinteresting. And Joanna's awesome, but I mean,
she just had that battle with Weili too.
Exactly.
A year ago. I mean, she is she can fight either of them any day of the week too.
Yep. I know Namajunas has 2 wins over Joanna. I know Weili has a win over Joanna. So Joanna has gotten plenty of licks at the belt, and just, I mean, she may have been a belt holder for a while too.
I mean, she's been close.
Yeah.
I believe she won fight of the year for her fight against Weili.
Yes. And I believe when Rose Namajunas beat her the first time, Rose took the belt from her. But that was pre-Rose or Weili.
Yeah. But this is definitely the most exciting women's division there is right now.
Oh, 100%.
But I think this is our last. I believe after this card, do we have is there one more fight night?
There's another fight night, and I can't remember who it is. I looked at it today, but that just shows my preparation for this episode.
There's a week off somewhere in there, isn't there?
What's that?
There's a week off, because we have 3 weeks left before we get to the pay-per-view. But then we get 2 pay-per-views back to back, I believe.
Is that the one with Chandler and Gaethje?
Yes.
And who's headlining that one? Is it Covington and Newsman?
That one is. Are you talking about which one? We have one at the end of October and one in November. I think Covington and Usman is in November. I think you're getting 2 cards combined.
Okay. What is headlining this coming one? Is it Figueiredo versus Moreno 3?
So next week we have Holmes versus Dumont Viana.
That's right.
And then actually there's another one. We got Vittori versus Costa, October 23rd. And then Jan versus Teixeira. Versus Teixeira. That's the headliner of 267.
Okay.
Peter Yan, Corey Sandhagen on that card as well. Return of Hamzat. And then,
that's right. Boris.
Yep. And then 268 is the ridiculous one where you got Usman, Covington, Rose, and Weili, Gaethje, Chandler.
Okay.
I mean, that's going to be a monster.
I was getting those certainly mixed up.
Well, they're only a week apart, which is going to be a crazy couple weeks in the UFC.
Those are back-to-back weeks?
Yeah, one's October 30th and then Saturday, November 6th.
Oh, my word. That's the best.
And then
you and I get to watch October 30th together, probably.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. It's also a very important wedding.
It's that wedding.
I'll have it on my phone.
Ooh, that means that our actually here we can keep talking. Let's end the episode. This kind of conversations don't matter as much anymore.
Okay. This concludes season 2, episode 2 of the Casual Combat Podcast. Cal, thank you so much for doing all that research. I will be straightforward. I just facilitated this. I just got the Zoom call headed up, and I just kind of coasted off of yours. But guys, if you want to make money, I'm telling you, make the bets that Cal tells you to, because Cal makes money every week on these bets. All right. These are his actual bets. We should have you pay for these bets, but we're giving them to you for free. All right. So thank you for listening. You can find us on all social medias, Twitter, Instagram. We don't have a Facebook, but you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, our website, casualcombatmma.com. And we're going to have some new merch out soon. So be in tune for that. The way that you're going to be able to either get that merch by a giveaway or to buy it from us personally would be on Twitter. So follow us on Twitter, Casual Combat MMA on there. Thank you guys. Sweet. Adios.